wake up to the same old fight, chasing shadows in the night. Promises made, but I let them fade. Caught in the cycle, I'm feeling betrayed. Round and round, I'm losing ground. Trying to break free, but I can't see. These negative patterns are haunting me. Nights turn to days, I'm losing my way. Thought I found peace, but it's led me astray. Chasing the high, but it only brings pain. The more I run, the less I gain.
Hey everybody, hey, welcome to another episode of Tarka Say It Again. And today we have a educator, a special guest in our office, Lasana Groom.
Yes, hello.
Yes, and she's with us today, and she's an educator and been an educator for years. And today we want to just simply share out some information of what we see on a day-to-day basis, some things that we feel might help with you as the parent that's viewing, also for the child that may be viewing, some things that we feel might help for the success of the child, because as we always talk about, it's about the new and the next generation and educating them.
And I kind of like that you said that, that it's for the next generation, because a lot of times people forget that it's never about you in this moment. It's always about who is coming.
Yes.
There's an African tribe that I learned about years ago. I can't remember their name. And when they meet each other in the village, they never really ask, "How are you?" Mm-hmm. So, like, if we meet, mm-hmm. I'm not going to ask, "How are you, Torque?" I'm going to ask, "How are the kids?
Oh.
How are they going?" Because,
Okay.
because it's everything about them, about what are we doing to make sure that we leave something that they would enjoy and cherish and want to be a part of and add to. So it's never really about us.
That.
Yeah.
About the kids.
Always about them.
Okay.
Always about who is coming next.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I guess we can get right to it, right?
Sure.
Like, give us information of your day-to-day in the classroom.
Yeah.
And maybe some challenges that you face.
Yeah.
Maybe some things you could change.
Yeah.
Right?
Or that we would love to change but need a lot of money to change.
Yes.
How everything is underscored by that almighty dollar.
Yes.
Well, now I don't have core classes per se.
Okay.
I used to do ELA. I did 10th grade, then I did seniors. And now I'm into student government, journalism. So we produce the yearbook, the school's annual yearbook. And I'm doing media studies, which is a Cambridge-based course.
Okay.
For me, actually, I remember when I chose Wekiva to work at, because we are part of a teacher exchange program. So I actually looked at the surrounding community before I chose the school. And I noticed, one, there were a lot of churches. There were a lot of different language based. I was like, okay, there's a Filipino this, there's a Haitian this, there's a Mexican. I was like, oh, this is a very diverse population. Yeah. And I looked at some of the programs they were offering at the school as well. I was like, oh, this fits in well with me, because where we are from, it's very cosmopolitan. Like, nobody would know you're not from Trinidad and Tobago unless you open your mouth.
Okay.
Like, every week we literally have every creed and race in our country.
Wow.
Yeah, so we are very tolerant. That's even one of our watchwords for our country: discipline, tolerance, and production.
Okay.
So we are accustomed dealing with a lot of different people, seeing different people. So I was like, you know what? This will be good for me. And because I told myself a lot of the children here would have West Indian parentage, West Indian background, I would be easy to relate to them.
Right.
And the age group of the children, their parents are our age. And then when I get to class, and it confused me at first, I was like, isn't your mom from Jamaica or Haiti or I'm concerned as to where is the oversight with your schoolwork at home. Because those of us who grew up in the Caribbean, we know.
Yeah, here your parents are stricter or tough, like about business.
And you have to do they don't care that you're into sport, or sport is always a hobby in the Caribbean. It's never something that you can take for a full job. So it's always a hobby. But then you come here and it's like, okay, they have a lot of opportunities here. They're not taking the opportunities, and there's no oversight on, no, you didn't do this, so why is this? What I see a lot of is, if I send something to a parent and I'm like, look, I've given this assignment 2 months ago. Like when it comes to yearbook, I remember there was this parent, I think it was 66 days overdue.
Wow.
And it was 1 page for 1 club. And it so happened that the timing that I gave her, and I keep telling them, when I give things, do it now, because you never know what will happen.
So true.
She didn't do it. Every day I'm asking, yes, miss, I'm working on it. I said, you know what, I'm going to send your mother a message on talking points. I sent her the message. The next day the student came, pretended to be all involved in, okay, you know what I have to do, what do I have to do? I said, well, you took so long, after 70 days. The teacher that I wanted you to interview to get this page done, she left the school.
Wow.
So now what are we going to do? And then I don't know what she carried back to her mother. The mother then would write to say, she came to talk to you today, but she said that you shouted at her.
Oh my
and for me, I was even in a quandary. I'm like, okay, of all the things that I would have sent to you about her work, you are choosing the battle that she said that I shouted at her.
Not the message.
What about the message with the evidence that shows that the assignment was 66 days late? There's no repercussion for that. There's no reprimand for that.
Right. What got us to this point?
Right.
Why we even having this discussion?
And I'm like, the children see this. So they tell themselves, I don't have to do anything because mommy will back me up. So we are very much on our own, at least in America. The American system is, I am flawed every day.
Okay.
Because you're thinking a stark difference. That our weakest child from the West Indies could come here and outperform the best child that we have here.
Wow.
Because when I was in high school, I had friends who left us in Form 3, which would be grade 9 here. They would leave us and they would come to America, and then we would hear about them 2 or 3 years later, and they're like, they're on the honor roll, they're doing this, they get scholarships, and we're like, who get a scholarship? Who couldn't read properly here?
Right.
They have a what?
Right.
And then you come here and I'm like, but you children have all these opportunities, they're not taking them.
And I've always heard that you all had top-notch education system over there, because we're going over there as a child, and us getting the opportunity to mingle with some of the kids that were around our age when we were there. That was one of the things, because didn't you all, it was year-round school?
No, we still have, I think we have more breaks.
Okay.
Than the schools.
It was a difference, and I remember them talking about that.
I think a lot of it is because we came up under the British system.
Okay.
Because we were under their colonial management for a very long time. And a lot of our school system is patterned that way.
Okay.
Because my mom, they would have written GCSE, which they still write in England today. They would have had to write those exams when they were in high school. Now we have our own Caribbean examination council, but it's a big thing, how many passes you get when you leave school. Here you get the diploma, you do an end of year exam, they probably curve the test to make sure that everybody passes. I'm like, but how are we functioning in society? You're churning out people that are functionally illiterate. And that is problematic, because people who are in our age group who do not have people to see about them may end up in assisted care. Who are the people that are going to be working in these places?
We push through the system.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And it's it's a disadvantage on their behalf.
Yeah,
and then it goes into that whole immigration thing now, where a lot of your top talent that you have in the country is not homebred. They come from Nigeria, they come from the Caribbean, they come from Cuba, they come from India, they come from everywhere else. And that is so. I think that people don't look at the bigger picture, and they don't see how simple choices they make causes a domino effect. Because if we should take what people are really upset with the current president about, but this was your choice,
right,
that you made, and after you made it, then you're like, oh,
yes,
oh,
yes,
maybe, oh,
yes,
oh.
Listen, this book, y'all, because she talked about the choices we made. Somewhere on the back of my book, it says, you will find that history repeats itself. The generation thereafter will either suffer or benefit from your life choices.
Yes. There is truth in that statement. Very, very, very much so. Very much so.
So, taking it back to the classroom, because I like how you just basically gave us
kind of link everything together.
Yes.
Because a lot of times we don't see it, and I think and I always encourage my students that I have to like get your passport, travel, go out there, because I have international teaching experience, and I even have a lot of pictures on my wall in the classroom from different students, because I taught in China for a while, and they would see the little kids, and they were like 3 or 4, and they were like, Miss, you used to teach Asian kids? I was like, yes. And they listen. They clean up after themselves. I didn't have to tell them to remove their juice box. When I say it's clean up, they clean up everything.
Right.
And they're 3. And they don't speak English. It's not their first language. Look at that. And they're like, oh. But what I have noticed, and I told people this a lot of time, the problem with America is freedom. Because we could, they do. And it's not because you could, you should. You still have to think about what you are doing. But I have found that because we could, we're going to do it. In China, and it was so enlightening for me, there is this drive to be number one.
Right.
It doesn't matter what it is, you must be number one. And that is instilled in them from that kindergarten stage.
And you see it here, even taking it back, when it comes to the GPA. And if they're at these particular schools, typically they're the ones that have the valedictorian and the salutatorian place there, you know.
And a lot of people think it's because he's Asian or because he's this. No. There's an element of perseverance there. Now, as melanated people, naturally, you have an edge above everybody. And I was talking to Mr. Chavez, one of our other co-workers, the other day, and I was telling him that I didn't understand the type of slavery that happened in America. I said it is only now, and after deconstructing Kendrick Lamar's performance and watching different things and hearing the different stories coming out. And it's not to say that we didn't have slavery in the Caribbean, but I said this was slavery 2.0, because generations and generations, and it seems like it's just cyclical. It's the same thing, like the hamster.
That cycle.
It's like, where is that going to be broken? Because our kids are suffering because of it. Because it's like, how it is, there's no need to want to own your own thing. So I'm like, we had slavery home too, but we still would come out, we would open our businesses, we would run businesses, even if they fail. I'm not saying that certain elements of racism or so still don't exist. Of course, that exists.
Right.
You know, because that was a man-made construct that they kept to keep certain things in line. Yes, but the opportunities that are there, how is it that it's buried in the system so deep And I was like, I really felt sorry for the brothers and sisters that came from Africa that ended up in America. I really, really am. Because I didn't get it. I didn't get it because I'm like, we all went through slavery, but then no. Whatever happened here on these lands, no. If they could talk.
Right.
No. It was different. And I think that has come into our school system. There's a lack of trust, and we see it with our kids. If the teachers are of a particular persuasion, they tend to not listen. They tend to give them a lot more trouble. And because they're looking for that need to connect. And it should be beyond the color of your skin.
Right.
But the point is that is what it is. And we have to deal with that as it is. Because everything is not going to be solved in our lifetime. Right. Which goes back to what are we leaving for them? Are we making it harder for them when we leave here? What are we doing to make it better for them?
Right. And just thinking about that, like you mentioned, being of the other persuasion and the child not wanting to listen, it almost like it's something deeply rooted, right?
Yes.
And a lot of times as parent, going back to what you said, we take the child's side or look for a reason to combat, what has been said versus receiving the message and trying to make corrections or fix the problem or whatever the case is. So going back, it could be some underlying microaggressions, some underlying racism, some underlying...
and then it's not just, not to cut you off, but we have to remember too, these are parents who, most of them work.
Yeah.
They may be at jobs where they have those same issues. And your kids are hearing you when you come home. Who you're complaining about. Complaining about Karen and Jim and what you're going to do and how you're going to deal with it. What do you think they're going to do if they know, oh, this is how mom deals with this? So when this happens to me at school or wherever, I'm going to take the same route because it seems like it worked for them. It worked for mommy. Instead of explaining to them how to really go about the situation, how to maneuver. We have to teach our kids how to maneuver in this world because they will get outmaneuvered.
How to maneuver, how to navigate.
Yes.
Try to look at it positively because that's the only thing that I feel that's going to get you through it. The saying where we talk about the problem isn't the problem. The problem is your attitude about the problem.
Yes, how you react.
Correct. Because your reaction could cause an
explosion. Exactly.
Or explosion where the consequences come there, So it could be a whole train.
A domino.
Yes.
A domino effect.
Exactly.
So it goes back again to what she has been saying in her book, Addictive Patterns.
Yes.
Our choices. And I think, and I have found there was a student I had maybe 2 years ago. They have this need to want to be the finisher of everything.
Okay.
So, for example, if they're having an argument, they must always have the last word.
They want to drop the mic.
Yes. They want to have that mic drop moment so bad.
Yes.
And for the last couple of times, I've been trying to tell them, I said, if you ignore the person, it will be like they're talking to themselves. But it's so difficult for them because they're always ready to attack. There is no critical thinking skills that goes into, okay, let me assess the situation. What was my contribution for us to get here? None of that happens because they're just ready to get back. And they didn't come into this world knowing how to do that.
Right. They learned it
from somewhere.
They
learned it from us. We are their marker. They mimic us with every single thing. Whether we think we're not doing it in front of their face or we're hiding it from them, they know. They know they know.
Exactly.
They know. And parents know that they know too because sometimes you're in a conversation and then the child just blurts out something and you're like, where did you hear that? Oh, that was from you.
Right.
That was from you. So we're seeing those things coming back into the classroom, and sometimes we have to overcome that before we even get into the lesson for the day. And it takes a lot when you have like a class of 30 or 35 students, or whenever the counselors feel to add new people into your class, and then it gets closer to 40 sometimes. And you have to get over that, and then you have to get over the students who actually have a connection with you, and it's like, okay, this is my time to see Miss Torika, and I want all Miss Torika to Miss Torika has 30 more of you. Could you leave me alone, please? And they always, oh, Miss, I want this. Oh, Miss, hear this story. And I love it because I know everybody's boyfriend and girlfriend, unwillingly so. I have to give dating advice. I have to give Valentine's advice. We more than teachers. I said, do you all know we have work to do today? Yes, miss, we know we have work today. But there's this girl.
You gotta be the counselor.
And you have to go into it, and they will give you an update. And they'll give you an update. They'll tell you what happened, what they wore. Do you think you should do this? And I'm not saying that we don't want to do it. I am glad to do it for them because I know sometimes parents, we empathize with you a lot of the times, you know, they are busy. Some of them have 2 or 3 jobs, which I know it might be hard for them to monitor their students. So a lot of them depend on us at school to help them out, to try to keep them on the straight and narrow. Some of them growing up with grandparents, some of them growing up with older siblings who don't have time with them. So when we really try to reach out to you all, it's because we really need your cooperation. Because we see where, and we have experience. My mom is a teacher as well. We have students who my mom taught. They would meet her. Some are policemen and some are thieves. Some are murderers. They will meet you and they will say, Miss, everything good? Nobody in a trouble in here, right? Because you know I could handle that. So, and it's something my mom always say, we teach police and we teach thief. We teach them all. But what is that connection that you have with that child that will let them know years after they finish school, be like, Miss, I have your back. Or Miss, these are whole up. That connection that we have with them. So when we reach out to the parents for help, we're trying to prevent the latter. We're trying to teach more police than thief.
Exactly.
We're trying to teach more doctors than murderers. We're trying to teach more engineers, more lawyers, more graphic design artists, more creators, more creative. We're trying to do that because we could see sometimes the road that they're heading down, the company that some of them keep, we could see it.
Yes, and parents, to piggyback off of what she said, basically, we're asking for your grace. Give us grace. We have multiple kids, so that means multiple personalities, multiple households that we have to tend to. You just heard her say, okay, we're the educator or the teacher, but sometimes we have to be the counselor. Sometimes we have to be all the professions.
Chief, cook, and bottle washer. That's what we are.
And the nurse.
And the nurse.
And the psychiatrist. Yes, because we have to deal with their mental. Get their psyche in check when they come from home and they not feeling up to doing any work today because somebody made them upset at home or maybe on the bus or whatever the case is. So we wear multiple hats and we just ask for your grace. So when, like she said, when we asking, we're emailing, we're texting through talking points, whatever the case. Yes. Because let me tell you, it's been times where I've called home, they don't pick up but as soon as the child calls, they pick up. That's the problem, parents. That's the problem.
Or those that block us on talking points. Inactive users.
That's the problem.
Or those who have the child cell number. There was a time, I think, I was calling somebody's parent and I'm hearing the phone ringing in class. And I'm like, wait. And they was like, Miss, trying to call me? I'm like, no, I'm trying to call your mom. Why is your number listed here? Why is your phone ringing? She not going to answer. What do you want?
What you want me to tell?
I thought it was so funny. It was so
Oh my gosh. Okay.
But I think we as a society, as a community especially, and especially for our demographic, we need to do a better job. I know history in America has it hard that it's difficult to do that, but we grew up with that community back home. So it's like if something is wrong, somebody will tell your mom. Like the neighbor will know that the mom working, so you're home by yourself. They will check in on you. You know, we don't have to worry about anything. Or you will be by that neighbor. The neighbor, you will get a bed, you will eat, you will sleep. When your mommy come home, you will go home. That's how we grew up.
Right.
And it's like, where is that community? I don't know because I wasn't born or grew up here. I'm like, it's so broken. Like nobody trusts anybody,
Right.
but everybody want help from somebody. But how you gonna get help if you don't trust nobody? You don't talk to nobody. You don't know who your neighbor is. Even in class, like when I send students on, who is this? Who is this? Miss, I don't know this person. Yes, that's why you have that assignment. Go and try to build a meeting, find out who they are, interview them. I don't know nobody on the sports team. That's the point.
Right.
You can't be doing certain things. So like today we had those events. They were so good. Like the support was wonderful, you know. Yeah. You get them out to do those things, get to meet people.
Involved in the community.
Yes. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, that is all you would have, your community.
Right. Well, we know those days are gone.
Yeah.
The ones you were just speaking of, they are gone.
I know.
Where we talk about the parents helping to raise other kids. So if you see them out doing wrong or they out certain time of night because maybe they done snuck out the house and you was unaware, they get on you or they tell you. Yeah, those days are gone. But I feel like the community of the world itself would be so much better.
It would
if we allowed others to help with the raising of the child.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we allow it.
Yes.
And then there's the parent who is not going to want that.
Right.
And then there are the parents who don't know what to do. Because we have parents like that.
Right.
They don't know how. They don't know what else to try. Like I have a grandmother. She has 3 grandsons that go to the school, but they're always on suspension. Right. And I'm like, could we try to get them into a sport? I remember she told me once that some parent conference we had, she said, you know, he came to me and told me that he wanted to grow his hair. And I was like, no. Tell him no.
No.
She was like, okay, I said, no, tell him no. I said, tell him if his grades come up to this, maybe I'll think about it. You're not giving him a yes.
Okay.
Because there's no yes here.
Yeah.
Because for me, I have no problem with you growing your hair. But you see when they grow it and then they have it hiding their entire face, it's like, what is going on psychologically that you don't want the world to see you? And they are such beautiful children. We have so many handsome boys and beautiful girls at school. And I have a problem with how they present themselves to the world.
That's a big thing, yeah.
I'm like, why are you wearing, this is not school clothes, this is underclothes. And that's where we come in, me especially. They can tell you that for sure. If I could send them back home, I would send them back home.
Right.
But there's no way a child should be leaving with her tights, with everything printing out, and a spaghetti strap top, and coming to school, a co-ed school.
Yeah.
Like that is madness.
The breast, all of that.
That is madness. Like no.
But we know sometimes the kids they change clothes when they get to school too.
Yeah.
But some of them don't change. They leave out the house like
just
that.
Like that. Yeah. I think we need to be strict on that because there's a lot of room for our school to be really good. Because we have some really good programs. We have some really good kids at that school. But I think a lot of the academics keeps them back. Because some of them really struggle. Outside of maths and English, they really struggle with school as a whole. I wish that the system here was a little bit more lax in terms of having classes like woodshop as part of our high school program.
Yeah.
So I would do like technical drawing and home economics. You learn to budget, you learn to run a home, you learn like, but here I think you have to get at least a 2.0 GPA to join a trade school. You have to get that first from high school before you join a trade school. Whereas home, you would leave high school knowing how to put up a blocks wall, knowing to do electrician work, knowing how to do plumbing. You leave high school with that, so you could go and be an apprentice right away. Right. But then when we have students who are struggling to get to this GPA at 2.0, with the regular academic core, they're not going to get into trade school. Right. So they're going to have to take some daily paid job that somebody on the construction site feels sorry for them today, or they'll be waiting on the side by Home Depot hoping somebody pick them up to do a job because they couldn't make the GPA to get into trade schools. I'm like, that's so backward, you know? Right. For first world America, like some things just didn't add up for me at all. I was very shocked at the education system.
So basically, you're saying your view, you notice where all the different cultures that you were speaking of is as if they came and became lazy because of the lax and the freedom and the leisure of our education system. Yeah, and you see some of them, they're still on it. You can tell the difference where the parents at home stay on them and care about their education and they're an advocate for it. But then you see some where they came, you might have seen the willingness, but now, say 10th grade, 11th grade, they've slacked.
They slid all the way off the precipice. Yeah. And it's like, but why? And I know that sometimes it's difficult at home. So how do we reach those? And for some of them, it is late for some of them, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't try. But it is a gargantuan task for us.
It is. We can't do it on our own.
We are just one in the classroom, and there's so many that need sometimes. I don't know, sometimes you go to work, and I'm telling you, sometimes I sit in my car and I'm like, should I come out today?
No.
Should I come out today?
No.
I'm so tired. I feel so drained. You know, like when a vampire sucking in.
Yeah.
We have this folklore. We have this folklore back home about a woman called a sukuya, right?
What is it?
A sukuya.
Okay.
She flies around in the night, sucking blood from people. She takes off her skin and she flies around in a ball of fire. And sometimes I just feel like, oh my God. Sometimes I feel like
all your stress, your energy.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like, I have so many things to do, and I have to put them aside every day because I know that they only have me for this time. Yeah. And it's like they try to get as much as they could before they go home. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't come to school a day because I have a PLC. I'm always working. And I would come the next day, Miss, where were you?
Right.
You didn't tell me you weren't going to be here. If you weren't going to be here, I wasn't going to come to school. Right. And I'm like, Lord, so, you know, it's on you to
and
like...
you love that.
Yes, you know, you show up for them because even though I'm at 50% or 10%, being there for them is 100% for them. Yeah. So your 10% is their 100. Yeah. You know, they just want to come to see you. Yeah. And we don't take it for granted, but
we need your help. Yeah. We need your help.
We do need your help. Yes. We love them. We want to see them do good.
So basically letting you know that your support is definitely needed. Is there anything else or some final words that you want to let the people know?
I think we should encourage our children to be the best. I don't say that lightly. I say that knowing that we were created with the capacity to be the best. The world is already a heavy burden. I know that there are some parents who say, oh no, I got it out the mud. I'm going to make them get it out the mud. No, I don't believe in that. And I also don't believe in giving it to them. Right. There are still ways that they can work for it, But as I say, they don't have to tote water. They don't have to go down by the standpipe 5 streets down and fill up a bucket of water to bathe. Not because you did that mean that they should do that. No. But there are ways that we could still instill values into them without giving them things. I think they have lost that sense of this is worth something because I could get it. Mommy and daddy will get it for me. Yeah. But remember this, when they go out into the world of work, they cannot call mommy or daddy to get that promotion. Right. It's all on them. Right. So if you don't give them that independence to make good choices and correct them when they don't make good ones, and they learn the lesson, because we know we have some kids are burned to learn. They have to feel the burn before they learn the lesson. I know that for a fact. I have some adult friends who are still burning to learning right now. So I know.
We say experience is the best teacher.
It's the best teacher, and it's better for your kids to learn it vicariously. Are they going to burn themselves somewhere along the line? Of course, because we don't know anything. We from 1925. Yes, we don't know what's going on, but we know everything. Clock it, clock that thing. We got it. So we know, we've been there. I tell them it's the same script, different cast. Yes. Same script. When they come to me with all their boyfriend, girlfriend stories, said, I had a friend. Miss, you always have a friend. I said, yes, I tell you, same script, different cast. Nothing is new under the sun. So let us do our best to support each other. This is a supportive, collaborative dialogue that we have to keep having until the day we die and you as parents die and they become parents. And
then it repeats itself.
And then, unless we make the changes that we are supposed to make. And parents, don't worry, when your kids become parents, that is when they understand you. They don't ever understand you before that.
They might come back and apologize.
Yes, I say, Mama, that one time, remember, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry because they
did it. We did it.
Yes, so we know. We knew.
Well, I will definitely thank you for coming into the office for another session of Tarika Say It Again.
Yes.
Yes.
Tarika Say It Again.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for educating, shedding some light on the education system and how you feel that you could be supported as an educator. Yes. And I'm sure they got something out of it.
Yes, I hope you did. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to Tarika Say It Again.
You too.
We read all of the comments. So if you have anything that you would like to add, we will look at it. I listen to the podcast. I follow it on my Spotify. Yes. So make sure you do the same wherever podcasts are listed.
Thank you very much. And also follow us on Instagram, website, addictivepatterns.com. You all have a good one.
Bye.